I feel like I kind of forgot that penthouse lots even existed in The Sims 4. They're just not something that I play with very often, so I guess I just don't really think about them. And now that I'm looking back on it, I honestly can't even think of the last time that I built a penthouse. So that's what we're gonna try and do today. I think I want to build on this fountain view penthouse lot. San Myshuno has a few penthouses. We have this one, which is kind of small. We've got the lounge, and we also have this giant one over in the fashion district. I feel like I play with that lounge a fair amount, but honestly, this lot just kind of slips my mind. These penthouse lots are basically just lots in the sky that came with City Living. And judging based on my Twitch chat's reaction when I built this last week, I feel like a lot of you also don't really think about penthouses, to the point where a bunch of people were like, wait, what lot is that? I didn't even know you could do that. Like, a bunch of people didn't even know that this pack even came with penthouses. So we're gonna try and build one today. Couple weird things. Number one, this lot is not a full 30 by 20 lot. It's kind of missing a corner over here. And there is a couple restrictions with these. So for example, if I wanted to build a pool, I couldn't put it here because it would be like floating in midair and there's nothing underneath it. But you can build a pool in the main space, just not above these balconies, which I guess makes sense. You aren't allowed to build basements, which also makes sense, but does make the pool thing kind of weird. And there's a couple lot requirements. You need to have an elevator. Now, these are not as exciting as you might think because they're still not functional. They're just like the elevators from the regular apartment buildings where your Sims don't actually use them. They just kind of spawn in front of them. The elevator is kind of like a front door to the penthouse. So you have to have one. And this is where like the mailman or like the pizza delivery person will come. So generally you might want to build like a box around it and then put a real front door and almost treat this like a lobby of your penthouse. And of course you also need a mailbox and a trash chute. But otherwise you kind of got free reign. So with all of that explained, let's jump right into the build. There's kind of a unique challenge when building penthouses because you're making a building on top of a building. So you sort of want it to match or at least like kind of fit the vibes of the main building. And obviously you can change some things and make it slightly different, but you still want the thing to go well together. And if I'm being honest, I don't really love the style of the building that's underneath this penthouse. It's got like some brick and white accents and stuff, so it's fine, but it's not really my personal style. So I kind of struggled with like figuring out how I wanted this to look. I also really struggled with like the shape of the building. I guess because I've not exactly ever seen something like this in real life. I've never been in like a fancy house on top of an apartment building before. So I didn't really know like how I wanted to make it look. I ended up using a lot of black, like all black windows. I painted a big portion of the building black, and it's got a lot of brick accents and also a lot of pink accents on the inside. I don't know what's with me recently, but I've been making a lot of pink builds. This house is more like rosy, like a dusty pink than like a hot pink, but I've really been into pink lately. So you've probably seen me doing a lot of pink stuff on my channel. Maybe pink penthouse is the new blue suburban for 2023. But anyway, this house is also quite small, if I'm being honest. It's not really got a lot of bedrooms in it. Considering how big it is, it's more of like an entertaining space than like a family home. It's got 2 bedrooms. We have 1 bedroom downstairs and 1 like primary bedroom in the loft upstairs. It's also got like a giant fancy kitchen. It's got a huge dining room, a big living space. It's kind of got 2 outdoor spaces as well. There's one that has like an outdoor kitchen and some lounge chairs and a pool, and the other one is more of like a patio with some grass. I also planted trees up here, and I realized that like, I don't know, would a giant tree be growing on the roof? I feel like the roots are probably a little bit too big. I know that sometimes this sort of thing happens, but I did put some very large trees up here. I don't know how realistic that is, but I've also got a pool going into the apartment below me, so it's probably fine. This is the beauty of The Sims, right? We can just do whatever, and it doesn't matter. You could just put anything anywhere. But yeah, the landscaping was kind of the least of my concerns here. I was more worried about how I wanted to fill in the walls. I felt like I had so much open space and like big blank walls. I tried putting murals, I tried doing like big plant installments on the sides of the building, and I just really didn't know what I wanted it to look like. I seriously tried so many variants of that one like big black wall on the side of the building. I think I settled on just putting like some windows and like a big overhang or something there, but it was really difficult for me to figure out what to do. I also found it kind of hard to figure out like what to put around the pool and how to make it all blend in. I ended up using a little bit of a platform around the sides of the pool, kind of like as a decorative feature, and I just kept trying to add like shapes or interesting places that I could tie in some windows. I used a lot of platforms on this whole build as well. I was trying to make it feel a little bit more split leveled than it actually is. I've been trying really hard recently to do like, I don't know, more interesting builds builds and like really push myself out of my comfort zone, because truly I do not like this style of house. This is not my personal style at all, which I find kind of hard to build for. Like, it's kind of tough to build a thing that I don't really want or like that much. I guess I shouldn't say that, because I do like this house and I'm proud of how it turned out. I just would never want to live here personally. So it's kind of hard for me to like envision a space that I don't know, just don't really like that much. I did try to use a lot of cool wallpapers and like windows and things that I don't normally go for. Like those big giant windows from Get Famous. I think I've only used those a couple of times, so it was kind of fun to have like a big feature wall to put them on. And then like on the inside, because I was trying to use a lot of dark colors and like black and brick, but also pink, I was really like scouring the catalog looking for anything pink that might work in this space but not be like too pink, because I wanted it to all be kind of a dusty rose color. And I had to cut this out of the video because it was so embarrassing how much time I spent on it. But I found this little tree plant thing that came with the high school pack. It's like pretty obviously an outdoor planter. It's got like a wooden base almost, but there's a swatch that has a pink wooden base, and then the plant itself has like some green and pink in the leaves. And I really liked the idea of that, like that little accent piece, but I didn't like how pink the base was. So I wanted to like make a custom base for it. So I was digging around through every object in the game trying to find something that I could sit it in to like maybe have a bit of the pink base poking out, but not the whole thing, because it was just too much. It was like kind of a coral color. And I'm not kidding, I spent like 20 minutes in real life just looking through objects to find something for this planter. I can't have that in the video. If I had that even sped up, you'd just be sitting here looking at me like scrolling through objects, trying out different planter bases, trying to find something to fit. Oh my gosh. It is embarrassing how much time you'll spend on like a tiny little detail sometimes. 20 minutes for one planter, but then in 20 minutes, I'll probably furnish like both bedrooms. It's just so funny how that works out. I am so sorry to any of you that were there watching this Twitch stream when I did this live, because I realize now that you all had to sit through that in real time. If you want to catch that kind of thing next time when I spend 20 minutes in the future looking through planters, my name is just lilsimsie on Twitch. I do a lot of building on my stream, and I also post all of those live streams to my second channel, More Simsie, after I'm live. So for example, you could go back and watch this entire build that took me like 3.5, 4 hours or something. You could watch it real time instead of sped up. And also with all of the, you know, pink searching that I cut out. Anyway, we're actually working on the interior now. So I'm starting off with this little tiny space by the elevator that's kind of like the entryway to the apartment. I kind of mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but these penthouses are sort of a weird lot because we have those sort of weird non-functional elevators, but they're a required object. You have to put one somewhere on the lot because that's where like delivery people spawn and stuff like that. So, you know, for example, if a friend comes to your door and like wants to hang out, they'll come stand in front of the elevator. So I don't really want to put that elevator like straight in my Sims living room because I don't really want like, you know, the male person coming and just standing in my kitchen. So I made kind of a fake little entryway or like a fake lobby basically to the apartment. And then I put the front door there. I put like the trash chute and the mail thing there just to kind of all have it in one space. I get a lot of questions about those elevators because people see them in game or like realize they exist and they kind of get excited about possibilities that you could do with the elevators. And unfortunately, the elevators are just kind of bad in this game. This has been a problem ever since City Living first came out because we all heard about elevators and got really excited about the idea of like trying to build bigger buildings or like, I don't know, woohooing in the elevator for whatever reason because people are simmers and that's always the first thought. But unfortunately, they really don't do anything. You can't even click on them. There's no interactions with the elevator. Your Sims literally just spawn in front of them. And you also can't really use the elevators like even for decorative purposes. You can only have one of them on your lot. I don't really understand why they set this requirement, but you have a max of one elevator per lot. So for example, if I wanted to have this apartment have like an elevator to the second floor instead of a staircase, you just can't. Like it won't let you do that. That part has always really, really annoyed me. I've done things like build fake apartment buildings in The Sims before too. I'm actually gonna post a video next week where I build like an entire apartment from scratch. And you can't really build apartments that function in The Sims. It just doesn't work like that. But you can make what is essentially a giant house and then split it up into apartments and then like pretend it's an apartment building building basically, but you can't put an elevator in it. So like when I've done it before, I've put an elevator in the lobby, like on the first floor, and then just not had it continue up because you can't have like a second elevator on the second floor. It won't let you. So I built a 4-floor walk up that I'm gonna post next weekend. Honestly, gameplay wise, that would be so annoying in The Sims. Like all other accessibility concerns aside, could you imagine if you had a toddler in your house, for example, and you wanted them to come downstairs to like play outside and they have to crawl down 4 stories of stairs? It would take them literally all day. They are so slow. And like in the lobby of there, I put like a desk almost, but it's made out of counters. Just knowing The Sims, they're gonna like eat their dinner and then walk down the 4 flights of stairs to leave their dirty plate on the counter in the lobby and then go back up to the apartment. I mean, like, Sims are just, they're really something special. Let's just say that. Anyway, at this point in the apartment, this is where I decided that I wanted it to be pink. So you might be noticing there is no pink in here right now, and that's because I wasn't gonna do it. And then I was like, you know what? I hate this and it's ugly. And then I chose this one painting. There was this one wall hanging from Snowy Escape that I used, and I was like, you know what? This is the one. This is the entire color scheme. So with that one painting, I was inspired to add in a lot more pink options into the building. We got like some pink accent walls. There's a lot of pink furniture and pink rug swatches, and I think it really helped. There's also something like sort of classic and almost iconic about like this black and pink color scheme. I feel like some really trendy, really wealthy sim lives here. You know what? This is the kind of thing that I feel like Penny Pizzazz deserves. You know that townie from City Living? She has this like terrible apartment that has the weirdest furniture in it, and I always picture her as being like kind of iconic. Like in my mind, she is famous in The Sims. When this pack came out, we didn't have a fame system, but she's like in the social media career. She's like an influencer. To me, Penny Pizzazz is like the Emma Chamberlain of The Sims 4. Like there is no way Emma Chamberlain would have an ugly apartment. Like she has designers and her house is beautiful. Penny Pizzazz deserves better than she got. Her apartment sucks and it should be nicer. I like the shape of it. It's okay that it's small. I just feel like the actual furnishing in it is like not how I envision Penny Pizzazz being. In my head, Penny has a place like this, like a really fancy, really nice, big, chic sort of space. But, you know, unfortunately she got an EA build in 2017, so she was robbed. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Penny Pizzazz because I say all these positive things about her, but actually in gameplay, I find her extremely annoying. She might be iconic, but like if you live in that apartment building, I don't know if you've played City Living, but like there's a lot of like default lot traits and stuff that happen in these apartments. And if you live in her same building on her floor, you have a noisy neighbor, and Penny is like very constantly throwing parties and keeping you awake at night. So she's kind of a nuisance, although a little bit iconic. Like it's okay. She's busy. She's very popular. She's got plans. Sorry, we weren't invited. I'm sorry. I keep getting so distracted. I'm furnishing one of the bedrooms now. This is the downstairs bedroom, and we're lucky enough that both of these bedrooms have really huge ensuite bathrooms. I cut out the footage of me furnishing the bathrooms from the speed build at least. I'll show you the bathrooms when we do the tour because I actually am kind of proud of how they look, but I always feel like bathrooms are boring. And the videos get so long because I do things like spend 20 minutes looking for a plant. So I try and like trim out the unnecessary parts, like me trying to figure out how to make a walk-in shower custom and like which piece of glass I want to use as the side. Like you don't need to see me scrolling like that. There's no point. I'll just show you the finished product. You know what? Looking back at this room, I'm realizing that bed is really not very pink. This was kind of the hard thing that I struggled with when I was actually furnishing the house, is that a lot of the pinks in this game are sort of blue toned, like almost a bubblegum sort of pink. And I wanted a lot more of a warm toned pink and also like a, I don't know, again, I keep saying the word dusty pink, but I didn't want it to be like pink, you know? So I was trying really hard to find things that were like sort of more muted. And some of that almost leans a little bit too brown. Like there's a rug from Snowy Escape that I've always sort of seen as being beige, but when I put it in here paired with the other pink decor options, I feel like it did kind of lean pink, so I used that downstairs. Upstairs, this bedroom is like very much pink. This is a pink bedroom. There's no doubt about it. It is very pink. I tried to make a custom headboard in this primary bedroom, so I used like those little pieces from Dine Out in the back of the bed. It's like a big marble headboard, and I scooted the Seasons bed into it. There was some worry in my Twitch chat that it wouldn't function, so just so you know, you can like scoot some beds into the wall and they still work. I built a tiny house once that was only 2x2 tiles, and I put a bed in there. I had it like half out the wall, and I'm not kidding. Obviously, it's 2 tiles, so I had the bed like way out of the wall on the end. Even like half of the right side of the bed was through the wall, and your sim could still sleep in it. So don't worry, you are definitely okay like scooting the headboard into the wall a little bit. I promise it'll still work. You can even like put stuff on top of the bed. When I'm building tiny homes, I've sometimes put like a desk over the foot of the bed. It still works. Like the Sims and The Sims 4 are generally pretty, I don't know, smart, I guess is the wrong word. The Sims and The Sims 4 sometimes do a little bit better with things than we might always give them credit for. I'm always a bit wary because I'm used to like the older Sims games still, where like if you had a 1 tile wide staircase in The Sims 3, you were doomed. They were getting stuck. It was going to be a disaster. But like in The Sims 4, they're smart enough to handle a 1 wide staircase. They can definitely handle their headboard being inside the wall, promise. It's actually kind of fun to experiment with like how far you can push those boundaries sometimes. Like how far can I scoot this into the wall, or how far can I adjust this and have it still work? And I'm usually pretty pleasantly surprised. They even still use things that are sized down sometimes, which kind of impresses me. Not to mention the tiny house again, but when I did that 2x2 tiny home, I sized down a fridge as small as I could, and they still got food out of it. So I don't know, they can be pretty good sometimes. Not that you have to worry about that in this house. There is plenty of space to not have to be scooting things unless it's for like cosmetic reasons. But we're kind of working on the outside a little bit more now because most of the interior is finished. There's kind of like 2 separate patio spaces, like I mentioned. On one side, we have the pool and the bar, and then on this side, we've got like a big dining table and a grill and stuff. I also snuck a hot tub out here. I didn't really know what all I wanted to put on the grass on the side of the house. It was really hard for me to furnish it because I was like, I don't really want to make the whole thing concrete, but I don't want to put like, I don't know, kids' toys or something. So I really struggled with the exterior. I ended up leaving it mostly grass on the side yard, and I think that's cool. There's something about it that kind of screams like, I don't know, bragging about your wealth because you've got this grass on the roof. It's similar to me putting big fields of grass in the Landgrab's yard in Oasis Springs. Wasteful and ridiculous, sure, but hey, it makes you look rich. But anyway, that is the finished speed build. I want to pop into the game now and show you a quick tour of the house. You might remember that we started off with this as our empty lot, and this is the finished cherry blossom penthouse. I don't really adore the gallery photo. I'm not like obsessed with how it looks there, but it's okay. That's a typical problem that we have in The Sims. There's not really any lighting that I like either, but we'll just leave it like this. I'll kind of start by showing you around the exterior. This is that side yard that I was talking about. We have that little patio, and then I put some stepping stones to the hot tub. I feel like in real life, sitting in this hot tub is like genuinely the dream. This would be so beautiful. I really struggled with this big empty wall, but I feel like having these little overhang things from the Desert Luxe kit kind of help. Like it breaks it up a little bit. I also really enjoyed these like fake window frames that I built out. I think it kind of helps add some dimension. Of course, we have some trees growing on the rooftop. And then over here, this is how I originally thought the front of the house would be, but on the gallery it was flipped. I put a few functional things, like we have that bubble blower from City Living. You kind of have to walk down this long skinny pathway to get to it, but we also have a bar right here. There's some lounge chairs and like a big covered patio basically. And then we have the pool that I framed with this platform. We also have a bit of a rooftop area. I put this fireplace with some couches on the balcony off the primary bedroom. They also have a telescope, which seems to be pointing like directly into the neighbor's windows, which is kind of suspicious, but whatever. And then when you actually come inside the house, here's where you would enter in through. You come in through this elevator. I kind of made it seem a bit like a lobby, so I put a couch and like a painting. This is the mailbox right here. I originally was gonna put the trash can in there, but I decided like, why not put it in the kitchen? Because then you have like a trash chute right there. That's way easier. So I put it inside instead. When you first walk in, I kind of struggled with this part of the floor plan because it felt like kind of a weird hallway entry space. So I put like kind of some cool decor, like a mirror, there's a bookshelf and some paintings. We have some kind of fancy chairs in front of the window. This here is the painting that inspired it all. This scroll is what made me think I wanted the whole place to be pink. And then you walk straight into the living room, and this is that rug that I was talking about that I feel like kind of leans pink in the space. To the left of that, we've got the kitchen, and I really struggled with this because I wanted to have wood accents in here, but I felt like the combination of the warm toned wood with the cool toned tile was kind of weird. I'm still not 100% on that, but I do like the shape of the kitchen and like these little shelves and stuff. There's also a huge open door out to the patio right off this wall. And then way to the left, we've got a little dining room. This one is actually 2 stories. It's very tall and very beautiful. And there's just one tiny little bathroom down here. I put the door underneath the stairs, which is kind of cool. Just has like a toilet and a sink and stuff. And then way off to the side here, we have the first bedroom. This one has like that kind of peachy bed. I tried to use some cool pattern in here as well to make it a bit more interesting. And they have an ensuite bathroom bathroom. This one's got a giant window like right in the front of the building, but at least you're on the roof, so hopefully like not that many people could see in. There's not a lot of tall buildings over here, so you should be okay, but there is a bathtub like right there in front of the giant window, and like your shower and toilet, I mean, that's just plain in view, but whatever, it's The Sims. And then when you go up the stairs, we have kind of a tiny lofted office space right here. I have a little desk and a computer and stuff, and then through that door is the primary bedroom, and I really, really love how this looks. I am obsessed with this angle of the room. I love the custom headboard and like the pink flowers and this big poster. They also have that balcony I talked about, and then their primary bathroom is kind of nice. This is that custom shower I mentioned. I tried to make it look like they had a walk-in shower, so I used the university one, and I put just like a window next to it to look like glass, so your Sims can come there and use the shower. They also have a private little toilet closet here and a nice big sink and stuff, and that's the entire house. Overall, I don't know if I adore the exterior. It's really not my vibes, but I do love the idea of it, and I love the interior a lot. It's on my gallery if you want to go and download it, although I will say it uses a very large number of packs, and for that I'm so sorry, but it's pink, so maybe that makes up for it. If you liked this video, feel free to subscribe because I make a ton of building videos here on my YouTube channel. And like I mentioned, I also do a lot of building on my Twitch channel, so if you want to see that kind of thing live, feel free to pop on over there too. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. Do you like my little ghost with a Santa hat? I keep forgetting to mention him, but I feel like he's kind of adorable, and honestly, he's kind of the star of the show. Best part of my background, truly.